Hey everybody, we are back in the shop and working on the Nemesis R1. So last video we took a look at how we're creating the templates and everything like that to be able to start to create the body. Today we're going to start to attempt to do that work. So one of the things, have a whole bunch of rolls of paper here with the templates printed on them that we're able to use for cutting out material. Ended up going to use some ABS plastic. I'm going to try to use this as a finished material instead of doing a plug and a mold and fiberglass out of it. Being able to bond the different edges together. Been doing a bunch of research on how to be able to do that. So essentially, as each of the different pieces are cut, they'll be put together in their pattern using aluminum tape on the outside to hold everything firm. And then once everything's firm, being able to use some construction adhesive along with some basically fiber tape stripped in to be able to create more support into the different joints and then finish the outside joints. So that's going to be the overall process. Have the handy tablet here with all of the plans on it. I've got a whole bunch of sheets of the ABS plastic. It's 1/8 inch thick. So it's fairly rigid as well, and once everything's glued in place it'll be even more rigid. Should withstand any kind of heat being over top of the engine. Should be good and durable as well. At the end everything is going to get vinyl wrapped as well for the color of the car. So that's the process. It's going to be interesting, a bunch of trial and error, and we'll see how it all works. Cut everything out with the saw, line it up, tape it together, see how this all comes together. Alright, so before we start cutting out these patterns, the way pepakura works is that the different lines mean different things. So solid lines are cuts, dotted lines are bends. So you've got these different kind of peaks and valleys that you're doing here. So before I start cutting these out and laying them over top of the plastic to cut the plastic, I'm going to create just numbers on each of these different things, take a photo of it so I know how everything comes all back together again. I won't be needing these folding tabs, so these little tabs here are what you use to kind of glue each of the different pieces together if you're doing it in paper or cardboard. So I'll be able to knock off those tabs and then essentially cut all these pieces out and start taping them together. Now what we've done at the bottom here, this whole piece that's here is one that kind of puzzle pieces into a floorboard so that we're able to kind of get everything all put together in a solid piece. So we have that. Also these ones here, when we first printed these out, these are a pure 2x2. We wanted to make sure that those measured correctly. That way everything we knew was going to be on scale. So that should allow us to get these patterns. I'll take a photo of this and start cutting it out. Okay, so we're making some progress. I've been cutting things out of ABS. I've got the puzzle pieces come together. They're taking a good long time to try to make this go. It's kind of painstaking work being able to get everything cut apart and then put back together again. As you can see here, we've got templates kind of everywhere on the car and stuff. And we've got the front left fender starting to form here. So as you can see on the outside of all the pieces, I've been using aluminum tape to be able to essentially seal all the bits and pieces. Now, the general idea of this was to be able to essentially put it all together along these lines, get it all formed together, and then use some of the adhesive to put the panels together. But things are, a little flimsy and hard to work with. Sometimes the aluminum tape is tearing here and there, so I'm going to try an experiment on this front fender where I'm likely going to do some adhesive on it and try to stick some of the panels together. They still have quite a bit of give and flex to them because it is ABS, which we'll be able to reinforce later, but essentially need to run beads of adhesive. I'm going to use some of this Gorilla Glue here. Beads of adhesive down through these grooves, and then use a little bit of fiber tape as well to kind of spread across, almost like a rebar reinforcement in between them all, and then another layer of the Gorilla Glue on it just to smooth out any of the different areas. So any of the areas that I know that are going to not actually, so some of these pieces in here I know are going to actually be cut away. They're just temporary pieces put in there so that everything kind of comes together so we can form it in the right shape. And any place that it's left open, I'll be putting in the adhesive and the fiber tape backing to bond everything together. Likely once everything is done, I'll end up putting ridges across some of these things again, just for extra support and holding everything together. But yeah, so getting there slowly but surely. So I'll put in some of the adhesive now and see how that holds everything together. All right, so I've got the fiber tape stuck in there. I kind of split it in half. It's a kind of thick roll, so I cut it in half. It's got an adhesive back on it enough just to hold it in place. And then we'll just ooze and goo in some of this Gorilla adhesive. Where we've got peaks here, I'm going to have to fold it over once the adhesive is on there. But we should be able to get nice and gooey here. So this will give us a nice kind of fiberglass reinforced connection between the two different pieces. All right, everything is now in there with the adhesive and the fiber tape backing. It's kind of interesting, this stuff goes almost like a body filler consistency, like a really sticky body filler. So I'm able to press it into all of the different seams and do a little bit of an overlap and press it down into the tape just to try to get the extra reinforcement on there. So everything seemed to go in okay. No real issues with making it all go into the places that I want it to. So that seemed to work okay. So I guess the next step, this takes supposed to take 24 hours to fully cure. Next step would be coming in, pulling the tape off the back, and then probably just filling in those seams, any of the cracks, with some more adhesive if there's any that wasn't filled in, just to make sure that everything's stuck together. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, just how long it takes to cure and how strong the adhesive is. So we'll have to check that out in 24 hours time. So we'll see how it all works.